OTAs are not training camp. I want to make that clear. OTAs and training camp are very different. The pads are not on, and I know that it's easy to kind of overrate what you see in OTAs, mainly because the contact portion is not there. But when you hear about the takeaways from OTAs and how Caleb Williams is already operating the offense much smoother than last year, Ben Johnson's offense looking good, the growth of Rome Odunze, Luther Burton, Zavion Thomas, all turning heads in OTAs, it's kind of hard not to get excited about what's coming out of OTAs. We're going to talk a little bit about that, both the good and the bad to come out of OTAs. Plus, it's Friday. That means we'll dive into the mailbag to hear your voicemails. All that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. Before we start the content, though, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We have a goal of getting to 30,000 subscribers on this channel, and about 48% of y'all that watch the channel every day are not subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. In return for that, we're giving you the best daily Bears content on the entire internet and the only truly 7-day-a-week Bears podcast as well. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe and subscribe to the channel to get that information. With that said, let's talk about the takeaways that we have heard already from day 2 of OTAs. And the first biggest takeaway is one that a lot of Bears fans want to hear, is that Caleb Williams looks a lot more comfortable. Now, like I said in the opening, it's easy to look comfortable when you know you're not going to get hit, right? Like, it's easy to look comfortable there. But I think when you look at the growth that you expect to see Caleb Williams have in year 2, that's what you want in OTAs. You want him to come in and to operate this offense much more smoothly than what we saw last year. We cannot rely on being the comeback kings this year. I love that Caleb Williams. I love that we know he can be the Iceman. I love that. And that's something you always have in your back pocket that you can go to, but you don't want to live and die by that. And hearing Ben Johnson praising Caleb Williams' progress and the command that he has over the offense, that's what you need to see from a year 3 player. That's what you need to see from a player that's having his second year in the same offense. That's what you want to see, right? And so we've heard that Caleb Williams finished multiple deep throws. Y'all all saw the highlights by now. I know it's everywhere in regards, so I meant to post it on the shorts on this channel, but I forgot to. I had a day yesterday. I had some family things going on. But with that said, it's just good to see that Caleb Williams is coming into this OTAs there. And the reason why I want to point this out is because if we had heard that there was not a smoothness to the offense or that Caleb Williams was still getting adjusted, everybody would overreact to it. But because things are where they should be and things are in a good place, I don't want to over or underreact to it and act like or just take it for granted. No, this is what you want to see, right? The Rome Odunze scramble Jill connection as well. That's the type of play that should get fans excited. That's the type of connection and chemistry that can take your offense from being good to truly elite in the next level. Where the deep throws to both Zavion Thomas and DeAndre Swift show how many weapons this offense can have. And the fact that we're already hearing Zavion Thomas's name as well is a huge one. We'll get more on that in a second, but it just seems like those were things that dazzled and really shined in this OTAs. I talked to my brother, Pat, the designer, right after OTAs yesterday. Me and him were talking. He was like, listen, I don't want to gas it. I don't want to overblow it. But he was like, this team looked exactly like they're picking off from where they left off on last season. And that's what you want to see. Shout out to Pat, the designer, for being at OTAs. And that's what you want, right? So if Caleb Williams is ready to make this superstar leap that we all want to see from Caleb, this is the place that we need to be on with this point in time. So listen, if Caleb is really ready to make this leap and this offense is going to make that necessary leap, then that's going to be a big sticking point for this team as we go forward. So that's a big one. I talked about Zavion Thomas a little bit, and it seems like Zavion Thomas's speed is already showing up. We heard that, deep shots to Zavion Thomas is going to be there. Zavion may have that bigger role that we talked about coming into this season. I said, it's up to not only Zavion to show that he's ready and that he can be used that way, but also up to Ben Johnson to build the packages and build the situations in which he can utilize what Zavion Thomas is bringing to this team. And, he needs to be bigger than just a return specialist. And we're already seeing how that speed is there. He made a 50-yard catch from Caleb Williams And when you look at how his speed can stretch defenses vertically, and that can open up the middle of the field, that can open a block for you, you have to play for Zavion Thomas's speed and the route running of Luther Burton and Colston Loveland, and keep Rome Odunze from getting, like, we're already talking about how much that puts a defense to have to think about everything, right? And so you're hearing that in Ben Johnson's motion and deep threat offense and the gadget weaponry that we're having there, that this is really opening things up for the Chicago Bears, right? So, there's no question on how quick Zavion Thomas is. The speed is there. We all know the speed. The 4.2 40 speed is there. We all know Zavion Thomas is fast. But it's how you functionally use that speed, both for the coaching staff, how they put him in positions, and how Zavion Thomas can use that schematically, right? Like, those are the things that you look at. If Zavion Thomas, as a rookie, earns a real chance to be a weapon and to get real offensive snaps, it says a lot about not only who Zavion Thomas is, but then also about the future that he has, with this team. And, how, like I've said before, I'm not expecting Zavion Thomas to win wide receiver 3. I don't know, of course you're going to get somebody officially named as the wide receiver 3, but I think when it comes down to the snap count, you could see that balance between Khalif Raymond, Jahade Walker, and Zavion Thomas all kind of balance out as the season goes on, to where, depending on the package, depending on the defense that you're facing and the scheme for that day and how they're having success in that offense, you could see the Bears vary in who lines up as that wide receiver 3 and in that slot. And that's also counting that Colston Loveland's going to line up at the slot as well. This is what you want. This is what Ben Johnson wants from his offense. You want to be in a position to where your offense can have a lot of different looks, and it's all fluid, right? You're not really forcing any type of looks. It's all fluid because you're utilizing the skill set of your players that you have there. And if Zavion Thomas's skill and the speed balance out and show itself early for the Chicago Bears, man, that's going to be a big one. That is going to be a big one for this team. So that leads us to the next one, right? There are already position battles starting for the Chicago Bears as well, right? OTAs is not going to decide jobs. You're not going to decide jobs and positions. You're not going to decide that without pads being on. But this is where you start being able to turn the heads of some of the coaches. This is where you start being able to open some of the eyes of the coaching staff. And then once we see the actual training camp portion start, that's where you start seeing some of that stuff open up a little bit. So it looked like Braxton Jones did open with the first team offense at the left tackle position. So there you go on that one. Also talking to Pat the designer, it seemed like Braxton Jones was using some clear run packages as well, in which where his strength relies on, and that's really good. Jedrick Willis did not participate in team drills. He was there, but he did not participate in team drills. We know he's recovering from injury. I don't really know if we get the full left tackle battle until he's out there, of course, with Theo Benedict as well. But the left tackle position is going to remain one of the biggest storylines of the summer until we get that left tackle officially named for the Chicago Bears. But as it looks right now, Braxton Jones, he opened with the first team offense. He opened at that left tackle position. And, that's what happened for him last year as well. It doesn't mean that he can't be supplanted. It just means that that's where he started at. And as the player that has started for the longest, has the most familiarity with this team, I that's not too much of a shocker. I know some people were shocked by that, but it is. Dillon Thieneman actually worked with the second team defense in this one. Now, I wouldn't read too much into that. I want to be clear here. I think when you look at Thieneman starting, with the second team defense, you're just kind of balancing out where your talent's going to be at. I wouldn't be surprised that that's going to change as he gets more comfortable in the system. And that's probably really what this was about. You want guys to have the most comfortability with the system to go against your offense, to get your offense ready as Thieneman gets more familiar with that system. Because keep in mind, Dennis Allen's system in the scheme in the secondary is very unique. Like we heard Montez Sweat talk about last year at the beginning of training camp, how much that he had to learn, right? And so that's the same thing for Thieneman as a rookie. He's going to be utilized very differently than what he's been utilized in college. So you have to adjust to that. I think that's really what this is about. It's more that adjustment period than it's about some skill lacking for Thieneman or anything like that. That's my personal opinion. That's what I'm taking away from it. But I know that you're not really going to be able to stop guys from being able to, or fans from reacting to that. But I think overall, like, you're just going to see Thieneman as he builds up that confidence in there. I think he's going to be perfectly fine in that case. I think it's going to be long run. I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to have to be something that we worry about. Thieneman is going to be a starter on this team, and I'm not worried about that part too much. So for those that have heard that Thieneman started with the second team, don't really look at that. He did drop an interception as well, and that's just little things that you have to tighten up as a rookie, right? So I'm not labeling that as a position battle yet. Austin Booker. So Montez Sweat was not present at OTAs. Austin Booker reportedly has generated a lot of pressure on that edge position, which is really good. Booker's development matters a whole lot for the Chicago Bears because, of course, we did not make a major edge acquisition this offseason. So as we are seeing Austin Booker grow and the expectation around him grow, and they hear that he's getting some consistent pressure, that's really good when it comes down to it. Reportedly, he shined as the lead edge rusher. That's according to Zach Pearson, who said Booker brought pressure off the edge on quarterback Caleb Williams that forced him to scramble outside the pocket, where he did wind up delivering the highlight of the day throw to receiver Rome Odunze on the scramble drill. But it's always nice to hear an edge rusher mentioned among the positive highlights. So that's the thing there. But there were some negatives, right? Of course, pre-snap penalties were a thing to start off the practice in OTAs. That was a storyline for the Chicago Bears at the start of last training camp as well. In the preseason, there were struggles there as well. Now, I think we tightened that up as the season went on, but it is still a thing here. And I think with the changes on the offensive line, with Drew Dahlman leaving, Ozzie Trapillo's hurt, those type of things. So I think at the end of the day, you hear Ben Johnson, he's talked about Caleb Williams leading a smoother operation overall. It's not too concerned. I don't think you should be too concerned about hearing the pre-snap penalties. Those things kind of clean themselves up as OTAs and training camp goes. It's more maybe of a timing thing right now than anything else, and it seems like the Bears are going to get that tightened up. But other than that, Jalen Johnson was there for people that made a big thing of Jalen Johnson there. Montez Sweat was not there with a non-injury related reason. So there you go in regards to that one. Cam Lewis did leave with trainers. That's according to Sean Hammond as well. So overall, there were some concerns there of some of the absences or players that left. But other than that, Jalen Johnson was present in regards to it. Kyler Gordon warmed up but did not participate in team drills. That makes sense. We heard that he's dealing with a soft tissue injury. And Jonah Jackson and Jedrick Willis also did not participate in team drills yet. But other than that, I think everything else seemed pretty good. Other than it's the players that you kind of expect with injury that weren't there. TJ Edwards, Dayo Odeyingbo, Ozzie Trapillo, Noah Sewell, Jordan McFadden. Those guys did not play there because, again, they're dealing with injuries. Also, rookie Malik Muhammad as well and Keyshawn Elliott were there as well. So, they were not there. Keyshawn Elliott was and Shamar Turner were out there. Malik Muhammad was not. So there you go on that one. That's just the update from OTAs. I think a pretty solid update when it all comes down to it. And we'll see how the Bears build off this. But it is Friday. That means it is mailbag day here. Let's go ahead and get into these voicemails that we got. This one's from Darius.
So what's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas. I want to call in and chop it up with y'all real quick. I want to start off with talking about the most recent episode where Haize was talking about the TJ Edwards and the Odunze slander, from Bears fans. I just want to comment on that first. If anybody is slandering TJ Edwards as a Bears fan, they just flat out don't have high football IQ. They just flat out don't. You're not talking to the type of fan base that is actually diehard. Those aren't the ones doing that. Those are just people that want to troll and they just have some infatuation with shitting on their quote unquote favorite team. I don't understand that either. But as far as Rome Odunze, I'm not shitting on him. I still like the upside in him. But the thing is this, man, we got too many players on this team that we're waiting on this potential. Same thing with Javon Dexter. Same thing with Austin Booker. It's like, okay, we're rolling into year 3. It's time for that potential to start showing a little bit more. And all I'm going to say is Rome Odunze as a top 10 pick. I don't need my top 10 pick dropping footballs. That's the only thing I'm saying. And I'm not holding nothing against him as far as his injury. That's out of his control. What is in his control is getting on that jug machine and catching the damn football. Okay. So I will say, hey, I'm still, high on him as far as his upside, but he is absolutely on the hot seat with me. Cause if we come out there dropping balls again, particularly with the emergence of Luther Burden, I'd just be ready to get rid of him after that. Just being honest. Javon Dexter, same boat. Austin Booker, same boat. Like, I'm not talking about potential with you motherfuckers every off season. And then you get out there on the field and don't do nothing. But, as far as hot seat goes, I do think, and I know you probably don't disagree with this, Haize, but I do think Dennis Allen needs to be on the hot seat a little bit solely for the comment he made a couple of weeks back about how he focused more on implementing the system than fundamentals. And, brother, you've been a defensive coordinator for a long goddamn time. to be not understanding how to implement it with a new team. So I'm going to believe him. I'm going to believe him this year. I'm going to believe, okay, he might have just slipped and then didn't get the fundamentals right. All right, cool. But if we still have a bad defensive line, this year, man, I think it's just time to let him go and move on and promote Al Harris, defensive coordinator. I know that's a hot take. I might not agree with it. That's just how I feel. But let me know what you think. Check us up there now.
Listen, hate and criticism are two very different things. I hate when people hear valid criticisms and then turn it into and say, oh, you're hating on X player. No, I think when you bringing up like the drop passes, that's a very fair criticism and something that we need to see this offense improve on. Ben Johnson called that out. So I don't think that that's hate to call that out. Now, I do think you're getting a little bit crazy when you're saying that he could leave. Like, he's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And he shouldn't. Like, he's going to get a chance and opportunity to work that out. What we saw from Rome Odunze at the start of last season when he was playing aggressive, had the 5 touchdowns in the first 5 games, then keep in mind, he was injured for, like I talked about in yesterday's episode, he's dealing with a foot injury, for about a month before he went down for the final 5 games. So, not to give him too much of a caveat, you need to hold on to the ball for sure. And this team overall needs to not have as many drop passes. But Rome Odunze is a weapon on this team. And I think you're going to continue to see him develop. The chemistry with Caleb Williams is going to be something that we keep working on, we keep seeing, and that's what you want to see from this team. And I think we're going to keep seeing that. But the Dennis Allen part of this, I wanted to, initially when you brought it up, I wanted to defend Dennis Allen because I like Dennis Allen. I like Dennis Allen a whole lot in regards to like the way he talks about the game, the mentality. I love all of that. And fundamentals, I would say this too. My response would be you shouldn't have to teach players at this level to do the fundamentals. But since Dennis Allen called himself out in regards to that, hey, that's a criticism that he opened up to himself. He said, hey, I should have been coaching fundamentals more than scheme last year. So if players weren't solid on the fundamentals and you're calling yourself out on it, guess what? Fans have the right to also call you out on it. So I'm not blaming you for that. I don't think anybody's going anywhere anytime soon saying that you like sometimes Darius, you like to jettison people off too early. They do got things that they need to tighten up and work on, but that's what team's about. That's what coaching's about. That's what training camp's about. Let's see how we can get things tightened up and let's see where we can go with it. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you and yours. With that being said, let's get to it. So, news just came out about a certain pass rusher that I wanted the Bears to get when he was a free agent. And that guy is Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is the same similar build as, to be honest with you, Austin Booker. If you know anything about him, he came from Florida State. Dude could always pass rush. He just had that slender build. But once he grew into his body, he was an effective guy that could pass rush. And you seen he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles before he got his money with Arizona. Now, when he was free agent, we could have gave that money to him, and it would have been no problem. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. But we have a chance to make our rights, make our wrongs some rights. And I think that he could be the effective pass rusher that we need to go along with the Montez Sweat. Because when they key in on one player, and I'm not saying Montez is a bad guy, but I just think having that added bonus of a Josh Sweat, who's a veteran, he knows the league, he got a Super Bowl, this team is trying to get to the next level and win on the Super Bowl, why not go out there and see what he's worth? And the contract, that's what makes the most sense. He may be making $19 million, but at that cap that we got right now, after signing basically all our rookies, he would be a perfect addition to this team, and I think it'll also help out. It's just all about DA. Would he want that? Could this be something where if we trade Josh Sweat, we give up a Kyler Gordon to Arizona because of the recent injury problems that he's had, or could it be a Deo where we give him up? Because they're going to want something back. It might even cost Austin Booker, but I doubt if that happens. But I would look more at like Kyler Gordon, contract for a contract. You swapping that out, you getting this. Also, Haize, I saw the show today where you spoke on Jordan Vandenberg. I do think he could be a contributing piece early. Looking at the D tackles, being a former D tackle, you got Grady, you got Kentavious Street, you got those guys, and you got Neville Gallimore. Some of those contracts are going to expire, and I think he could be a piece where he could develop and become something. We've seen 6th-round picks like Jason Kelsey come into the league, and then he's been Hall of Famer. I'm not saying Jordan Vandenberg is going to be a Hall of Famer, no, by no stretch, But I do see him getting on that field. Maybe not starting this year, but for sure next year he'll be fighting for it. We'll see how it goes. But let me know what you think. As always, shots on up, bear down, y'all.
Bro, the Bears are not trading away any of their youth. Like to say that trade Kyler Gordon or Austin Booker, they're not trading. If they were willing to trade any of their youth to tighten up the edge, they would have did that in the regular season. They're not trading any of their youth, and they shouldn't trade any of their youth. There's too much upside still in the players that you mentioned for you to trade them, even for a player like Josh Sweat. Now, I do think the Diode and Yingbo part of it, if they're willing to take that contract because it expires or they can get out of it at the end of the year and it helps us make the money work, then great. It's probably going to end up being, if you make a trade for Josh Sweat, it's probably going to end up being more picks than anything, and you can restructure contracts if you need to create more space. That's an option there for you too. So I think those things are more likely than trading either Austin Booker or Kyler Gordon at this current juncture of where the Chicago Bears are, and I don't think they should. There is still a lot of confidence in this, and keep in mind the Josh Sweat thing was a rumor. They brought in AJ Epinesa for a workout because I think that they're just looking to add to this team more organically than have to make a big swing trade where you're giving up major assets, because they do believe in the internal development of Austin Booker and this defensive line and Dennis Allen, coaching the fundamentals and stuff like that. I think those are things that you're looking at from this team and you're going to see naturally kind of happen and develop before you kind of see a big swing trade. Now, would I love Josh Sweat on this team? Yeah, absolutely. You have the double Sweat lineup. It's great. But even in what we heard like in OTAs, I think you're starting to see why the Bears have that confidence in Austin Booker. He just got to keep his ass healthy. And if he does that, I think they're going to be a pretty nice step up for this team this upcoming year. All right, let's get into this last voicemail that we got, man. This one's from CL.
What up, fellas? It's your boy, Out West CL. I repeat, Out West CL. Calling in just to let you guys know I like what you're doing. You guys doing a great job over there, representing black media. Well, let's get to it. We got OTAs coming up. We got voluntary OTAs, which is May 27th to May 29th, and then again, the second block is going to be June 2nd and June 4th. Dave, I know you mentioned something about, I think it was Malik Muhammad, so that he may be like one of the steals of the draft, or maybe it was someone else. But regardless of the fact, if Cal Gordon keep playing hurt or playing crazy, one of the two, this kid can possibly be starting day one. That's just a possibility, but that's neither here nor there. And we passed the draft. We passed everything. We already know the players we got. And we all pretty much agreed, the bad grade was probably a solid B, B plus, B minus, whichever one you want to give them. Now, I think one of the steals of the draft is this kid, Coleman Bennett, the running back out of Kennesaw State. If he can crack that lineup, especially if, like, Ben Johnson chooses to use him on that goal line, he can possibly score 5 to 10 touchdowns in his rookie season, if used correctly. Now, number one, we also got to not forget, health is number one. Bears got to stay healthy. That's anything. But more healthy, the better. Number two, Ben Johnson, Caleb definitely got to be on the same page. They got to be on the same page. But most importantly, the third one, the Bears want to go as Caleb Williams go. And I'm going to explain why. I know we looking at the defense, and we feel like they didn't improve on the rushing, defensive ends, rushing. I think we pretty much predicated to what we just going to use the speed. But when it's all said and done, with everything they made in the offseason, all the moves they made in the offseason, we only going to go as far as Caleb Williams takes us. He is ice cold Caleb for a reason. I'm hoping he make a big leap.
Could Malik Muhammad start day one? Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily passing up Kyler Gordon. I don't know if Malik, if his skill set is the slot receiver skill set, but then again, Dennis Allen, with the way he plays defensive backs, just put the defensive backs with the talent out there. But I do think Malik Muhammad is not even the Kyler Gordon part of it, the Tyreek Stevenson part. Now, we've heard coaches hype up Tyreek and what he can bring to this team and stuff like that. But if Tyreek has another couple of head case games, Malik Muhammad's right there. And Malik and what he's shown in college and locking up receivers, there's a big part to think that Malik Muhammad's skill set could thrust him into the starting lineup as a rookie, and we'll see. The Coleman Bennett piece. I love Coleman Bennett. I like the size and combination of size and speed that he has. It's something that we don't have with Swift or Kyle Monangai. I don't know what the plan is for him, but being an undrafted rookie does not preclude you from making this roster. And we've seen that happen on this team before. Jack Sanborn's back, but Jack Sanborn was on this team. So I think I love the skill set that he has. It's just up for him to show it that, hey, I can be used for this team because he has that dual threat. He has big size, solid blocker. There's a lot to really like about Coleman Bennett, and I'll be interested to see if he makes the final 53. Now, as far as the defense, the last part of your voicemail, I don't know if we can overlook the importance that the defense needs to make a step in the right direction. I don't think we can say the team is just going to go the way that Caleb goes, because if your defense is allowing 35 points and you have to score 40 points a game just to win games, it doesn't matter how good your offense is, you need your defense to be able to step up. So, I think that we can have an elite offense, but our defense needs to be at least middle of the pack of the league. It doesn't have to be top 10, but it has to be at least middle of the pack this year for us to make that next step that we want to make forward, in my personal opinion, right? So we'll see if the Bears can do that overall. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know how you guys feel about the takeaways from OTA so far. Has it made you more excited about how this team could build? Or are you kind of like me saying, all right, it's good to hear these things. It's OTAs. Let's wait and see what the pads are on, how we start feeling about things. But the left tackle battle matters. The center battle matters. The pass rush matters. We're going to see how all these things go on. So I want to hear from you guys. What's your favorite storyline out of OTA so far? Are you excited about the growth that we're hearing from Caleb Williams in year 2 under Ben Johnson? And then, of course, do you think that Malik Muhammad could push Tyreek Stevenson sooner than what was expected? Let me know all that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can follow us at Shy Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.